Good morning, St. Francis, and good morning, people of God. It is Friday, the 7th day of July, 2023, Friday of the 13th week of the year, the 13th week in Ordinary Time. Back in Raleigh, and just wanted to show everybody, in case you have not seen it yet, so the whole paving process for the campus is completed. So the paving process in front of the Franciscan School is now all done. It has all been repointed. The spaces have been put in. So now we have whole new blacktop. We will have to put back in a couple of the blacktop games that had to get removed with the new paving process for the school to use. But it's pretty nice. It looks very nice. So campus is coming together, although again it is incredibly quiet during the summer months when you don't have almost 7,000, no 7,700, over 700 people running around over here, including the preschool and the Franciscan School. But on this Friday of the 13th week of the year, 13th week in Ordinary Time, we have the continuation of Genesis, not necessarily moving yet to the completion of our time with Genesis, but in it we have the death of Sarah, who basically lives to 124 or 125. Again, the extent of age was to show righteousness in many ways, and the fact that because Sarah listened eventually to God to be able to have Isaac, God rewards her with a long life, so longevity. Abraham's life will be longer than Sarah's, but Sarah lives a long time, and so she dies. And so we hear about the various rituals, the various procedures that Abraham has to go through to bury her, and he has to ask land from the Hittites, who are the people who are in control of Canaan, the promised land, at this point in time, and they give him various spaces to be able to remember Sarah and then to bury her. It then goes into a very interesting kind of a thing in which he knows that Isaac, his son, needs a spouse so that the line can continue, and God's prophecy that Abraham's descendants will be as numerous as stars of the sky, sand of the seashore, etc., will be able to continue. And so he asks a servant to go back to Ur of the Chaldeans, again, back through the Fertile Crescent to the Persian Gulf area, to be able to find a wife, a spouse for Isaac from the kindred that Abraham has come from, and not from the Canaanites, not from the people around him. Again, never says why he does not like the Canaanites, although again he's polite to them and things like that. And so the servant says the servant will. There's an interesting kind of ritual where he has to hold the thigh of Abraham, the servant, to be able to promise to find a spouse for Isaac. And that was because among the ancients, the thigh was the place where offspring were born from. So again, all kinds of things people thought in the ancient world. Anyway, the servant, goes to find some people. Then there's a whole bunch of verses that we are jumping around, and we move from one chapter into another chapter, and basically Rebecca, who becomes Isaac's wife, is found not in Ur of the Chaldeans, not around the Persian Gulf area, but in the southern part of Israel, in the Negev desert. And so she is not necessarily a Hittite or a Canaanite. She's of another kind of community, another kind of people, and she becomes Isaac's wife. And so again, the linking of other people within this great work that God is doing to produce descendants as numerous as the stars of the sky and the sand of the seashore is what is important, is what matters. And so it is to the area that Abraham has come that God supplies this wife, that God supplies Rebecca to Isaac and Isaac to Rebecca, not from where Abraham came, because there is no going back. And the one thing that Abraham does say to the servant is, never take my son back to where we came from, because there is no going back. There is only going forward with God. So a very interesting kind of arrangement, very interesting kind of scenario that unfolds in Genesis today. In the gospel is the call of Matthew, in Matthew's gospel. So Matthew is called, and basically a simple call that says, come, follow me. Objection, because of what tax collectors were, people who made their income by gouging their brother and sister Jews for money so they can create a salary as they paid back the Romans the things that were owed to the Romans. But the reality is that Matthew follows Jesus simply because of that command, and nothing more and nothing less. Because of that command, Matthew becomes an apostle. Matthew becomes one of Jesus's disciples. There is no need to go through any kind of penitence. There's no need to go through any kind of conversion experience. There's no need to go through any kind of proving that he is worthy, because technically he is regarded as a sinner amongst amongst his brothers and sister Jews. It is just simply this call, and the call is enough, and the response to that call is what matters, not what has to be put in place so this call can be given to begin with. Something for us to remember, something for us always to conceive. Again, in our world today, in our church today especially, you have to show merit and worth to matter, it seems. And again, the church loves to look upon those who are downtrodden and those who are considered sinners, etc., because it wants to have pity on them, and that's never what God wants. God does not want pity. God wants people to move from off of dead center, from where they think their lives only can be, to what is open to them and what can be for them with God. Matthew shows us the way today, and it's a way that all of us need to be attentive to and to follow in our own way. Blessed day, St. Francis, and people of God, may the Lord give you his peace.